Hi, in this video we're going to learn about finding the inverse of a function. Alright, now take note that the inverse of a function f is the function that undoes what f of x has done. Okay, and you have to remember that the inverse function of f of x is written in this form: f power -1 of x. Now, from here, this is based on the discussion last time when I introduced about function. If you have an x, if this is the input, then the output is y for f of x. Alright? But for the inverse or the f inverse of x, the domain will become the range of y, will be y now is the input, and the output will be x. So therefore, the domain of f, this is the input of f, right, will become the range of f inverse because this is now the resulting set of your f inverse. And the range of your f, which was the output, is now the input or the domain of the inverse. So please take note of this in finding the domain and range of your function and its inverse. Now, how are we going to calculate the inverse of a function? So let's say, for example, we have the following questions here. Let's start with this question number 1. Okay, so let's say you are given with the function f of x is equal to the square root of x plus 1 minus 5 for values of x greater than or equal to -1. Okay, we have this restriction because if you don't have this, this one will not be defined anymore. So this is the domain of your function f. Okay, so now how do we find the inverse of a function? What we're going to do is we're going to replace this function f by y first. Okay, so that will become y is equal to the square root of x plus 1 minus 5. That is our step number 1. Step 2 is to interchange your x and y. So this time around, instead of y, this will now become x. Okay, so that will be x is equal to the square root of, instead of x, now it will become y plus 1 minus 5. See the difference? And then after this, we are going to make y as the subject of the formula. So what will happen is we transfer your minus 5, so that will become plus 5 is equal to the square root of y plus 1. Take note, we want y as the subject of the formula. So what we will do next is to get rid of the square root. We square both sides of your equation, and in the end, we will get x plus 5 squared is equal to y plus 1. So therefore, your y is x plus 5 squared minus 1. That means your f inverse of x is x plus 5 squared minus 1. Okay, so it's x plus 5 squared minus 1. So this is now the inverse of your question number 1. Question number 2. Okay, as you can see in question number 2, this is a rational function, right? So in this case, your function is not defined for x equal to 2 because it will be 0 in the denominator, so it won't exist anymore. So what we will do is, because it says here f such that x is 2x plus 8 all over x plus 2. In other words, if we're going to rewrite this again, that means x is the input and the output is this one. Okay, so it's the same thing that we did in question number 1. We are going to change f of x to y first. So y is equal to 2x plus 8 all over 2. And then we interchange x and y, so that will give us x equals 2y plus 8 divided by 2 and make y as the subject of the formula. So if we want to do that, that means we have to get rid of the denominator 2. We multiply both sides by 2. So that will give us 2x is equal to 2y plus 8. Next thing is we get rid of 8. So we transfer it to the left side. So that will give us a 2y. And we divide everything by 2. So your y is 2x minus 8 all over 2. Or in other words, this is x minus 4. So therefore, your f inverse of x is x minus 4. And we're done. Last question. What about if you're given with an exponential function? So what do we actually do? Okay, now as you can see in this case, your function is already in terms of y. So what will happen is we just need to interchange. So that will give us x is equal to e to the power of 2y minus 2. Of course, we have to make y as the subject of the formula. So we transfer your negative 2 to the left. So that will give us x plus 2 is equal to e power of 2y. Now, since this is an exponential function, to put your y as a coefficient, so what we're going to do is to take the ln of the whole thing. So we take ln of the whole thing, right? So that will give us ln of x plus 2 is equal to ln of e to the power of 2y. And ln of e power of 2y is the same as what will happen to the power will now go to the base. Okay, so that will give us 2y ln of e. However, your ln of e is actually just 1. So this is equal to 1. And we are left with 2y. So therefore, our y now is ln of x plus 2 divided by. So therefore, the inverse of y is equal to ln x plus 2 all over 2.